welcome back to Freedom Homestead. I'm Tangie, and today we are in the kitchen and we are going to be canning. Now this is a recipe that is in the Amish Canning Cookbook, which I will have a link in the description box below. I love this cookbook. Everything I have made in it so far has been incredibly delicious. But today we are going to try something new. It is the quick and easy tomato soup, and it is on page 201. It's really easy, just a few ingredients, and I have everything on hand. So let me turn you around and show you what we're going to use. The original recipe makes 7 pints of tomato soup, so I am actually going to double this recipe. So let me show you what you need. All right, so I'm gonna tell you what the recipe calls for based on one batch, and keep in mind that I am doubling this batch. So it calls for 3 stalks of celery that have been chunked into thirds. You're going to keep them in large pieces because you take them out at the end. So that's what I have here. These are washed and ready to go. I'm just going to break them. You need 3 6-ounce cans of tomato paste. You need 2 bay leaves. Okay. It also calls for 1/4 teaspoon each of oregano, basil. This is basil that we grew and dehydrated ourselves. Thyme, celery seed, and it also calls for 1/4 teaspoon of rosemary, which I am going to omit. 3/4 teaspoon of onion powder, 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, 2 to 3 teaspoons of salt. I'm using just kosher salt, 3 quarts of water, and 2 to 4 tablespoons of white or brown sugar. Okay, so I've got my big old stock pot right here. We're going to cook it in this, and then we will start putting these in jars and getting them in the canner. To start, I just go ahead and add 2 quarts of water to the pot and then add in all of my tomato paste and then stir it just to get the tomato paste smooth. Once I do that, I add the rest of the water. Our seasonings. When I started adding the seasonings, I decided to go ahead and leave out the thyme. I just used the oregano, basil, celery seed, garlic, onion, salt, and sugar. Once I get all of the seasonings added and stirred in, I go ahead and add in the celery and the bay leaves. And like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm just breaking the celery stalks into thirds. So now we're going to let this soup come up to a simmer, and we're going to let it cook for about 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, we'll come back and I'll show you what we do next. Okay. So while my soup is over there simmering away, I wanted to show you, I've already got my jars picked out. I've already gone through there. I have checked for cracks. I washed them, so they are ready to rock. I also have my lids on standby. I haven't turned this on yet, but I do like to heat my lids. You don't have to do that if you're pressure canning, but it's just another extra safety measure. So it never hurts to be too safe, right? So yeah, I have my lids on standby. I've got my jars on standby, just waiting for this beautiful pot to simmer for 20 minutes. Okay friends, so I just took my soup off of the burner because my 20 minutes is up. So now I'm just going to take a spider and I'm going to scoop out the celery and the bay leaves. Once I do that, we're going to put these in jars. I'm going to go ahead and grab my canner, fill it with water up to the 3-inch mark, and go ahead and get that going on the burner so the water can start heating up. Okay, so I wanted to show you guys really quick my setup here. I scooped everything out, the bay leaves and the celery. I'm gonna use this coffee cup to scoop out my soup. Like I said, all of my jars have been inspected and washed. They're ready to go. I've got my lids heating up over here. I've got my canner over here heating up. So let's get started. We're going to fill the jars, leaving a 1-inch headspace. Okay, so I'm gonna have to watch carefully to make sure that no bay leaves are in the soup. I think I got them all, but sometimes they break apart, so I just want to make sure. Oh my goodness, doesn't that look so good? So I got 12 pints. And now I'm going to wipe down my rims with vinegar. Using vinegar because it cuts through grease. Once I get the bands on my canning jars, I go ahead and start setting them in the canner. Now I have a 23 quart Presto pressure canner, and I have a couple of racks. One goes in the bottom so your jars don't have direct contact with the heat, and then the other one will go on top so I can actually double stack my jars, and that's exactly what I'm doing here. So you can make these in quarts or pints. Either way, you're gonna process these for 20 minutes. So basically what that means is once you have reached the correct PSI for your elevation, then you start the timer for 20 minutes. Where I live, the pounds per square inch that I need to process mine is at 10 PSI. So if you are brand new to canning, I am going to post a link down below my video where I can beans, and I go into great detail about everything from inspecting your jars, your lids, your pressure canning lid, your seals, all of those things, and kind of talk about the ins and outs of pressure canning. So if you are new to canning, you might want to check out that video. But I thought this recipe is excellent for beginners because it's not complicated. Your processing time is short. So yeah, I'm really excited. The soup tasted super duper good. Anyway, so I've got this cranked all the way to high. Once it starts venting, which means steam starts coming out at a steady stream, we're gonna time it for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, we're gonna put our weight on the valve. This is a 10-pound pressure weight, like I said, where I live. The recommended PSI for pressure canning is 10 pounds. So this is a 10-pound weight, and it will go on that. When we get there, we'll come back. All right, so we are now starting to get a steady stream of steam. So I'm going to set my timer for 10 minutes. And then at the end of 10 minutes, we'll come back. Okay, so it has been 10 minutes. So now I'm going to put my weight gauge on the valve. And this will pop up. Yay! Okay. So now that this has popped up, the gauge is going to start moving. So when it gets to the 10-pound mark, that's when we're going to start timing it. The reason why I turned this down is because I know the sweet spot on my stove And if it sits between the 3 and the 4, the little hand there will sit right between the 10 and that other dark dash. So that's why I did that. Okay, so we've reached the 10-pound pressure mark. I set my timer for 20 minutes, and that was a couple of minutes ago. But as you can see, my gauge stays right there nestled between the 10 and the other dash. And that's where it will stay because I learned my sweet spot on my stove. So anyway, we will come back whenever the timer goes off. So my 20 minutes of processing time is up, so I'm going to move this off the heat. Okay, so I pushed this to the back, and what we're doing is we're just gonna let this depressurize naturally. And it turned out perfectly because dinner's ready. So my family and I are going to have dinner, and we'll come back probably in about 30 minutes or so, and then the gauge should be all the way down to 0. And we'll take our jars out. Okay, friends, so the gauge is down to 0. I already took the weight off. My little valve here is down. So now we are going to open the pressure canner, and I always like to remind you guys to lift the lid away from your face. If you open it towards your face, you could burn yourself. So we're gonna just twist this off and open away. Let's see what we've got. Okay, you guys, so here are all of the jars. We got 12 pints of tomato soup, and we're gonna let these sit overnight untouched. When we come back, we will check the seals, we'll get them cleaned up, labeled, and put them in the pantry. Friends, so I have actually gone through and I've taken all the seals off. So now I'm just going to go through, press on the lid, make sure it doesn't pop up, and then I'm going to pick it up by the lid. So I'm going to go through here, do that with all of these. And then once I get them all checked, I'm going to wipe these down with a cloth that's got a little bit of water and soap and vinegar on it. Now I have 12 to 24 servings of homemade tomato soup. And yeah, it just depends on how hungry the person is, or if they have it with a sandwich or something, they're probably not going to have the whole pint. But yeah, I'm really excited. The ingredients were simple, it has a short processing time, so I think this is a really great recipe for someone who is beginning canning. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you give this recipe a try, let me know. I taste tested it and it tasted fantastic, better than the store-bought stuff. So it's really great because, like I said, simple ingredients, you know what's in there, you can control the amount of seasoning and salt and all that good stuff. And I really think that it's delicious. So anyway, I hope you guys give this recipe a try, and until next time.